Welcome, everyone, to another edition of Talented Universe on this 21st day of May, 2025. And first off, I would like to welcome my co-host today, Marcia. How are you?
Hi, everybody.
And Marcia, I'd like you to introduce our special guests for today.
I am more than happy to. I am thrilled to welcome Juliet Chevelle, who is an up and coming and very experienced actress in the vertical drama world, but she's done many other things as well. And we're going to explore the vertical dramas and some other exciting things that she has in store for us. Welcome, Juliet.
Thank you guys so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
So we were talking a little bit before we got on, so I'm going to have you go ahead and repeat what you said. My question was, how did you get started in verticals? And then I'm going to ask you the big question I ask everybody after that.
That's a great question. So every actor I know who works in verticals has a different kind of coming to vert story. Mine was, it was back in June of last year. I was kind of combing breakdowns as actors do and self-submitting. And I kept seeing these projects pop up that seemed a little bit sketchy, but also they kept coming and they seemed, there was kind of a mixed bag. And the first one that I ever applied to, the story actually really called to me. And I appreciated the message that was in it. So I submitted, auditioned, and actually booked it. So ended up flying out to LA. I was based in Texas at the time and worked on that project. Had a fantastic time, despite being a little bit hesitant with stepping on set. Like, what is going on here? Fantastic crew, fantastic team. And the story was really, really fun to shoot. And that was the beginning of the story.
Well, cool. Now, in your own words, I've asked this with everybody else, and this is another thing. Everybody has something different. If people are watching and they have no idea what we're talking about, how would you describe a vertical drama?
That is a great question. And believe it or not, I get that question a lot because a lot of people, they've seen verticals, but they don't know what they are. So the way I describe a vertical is that it is a soap opera that has been filmed and formatted to be consumed on a mobile device. So basically it's 9:16. Because in the nature of the marketing, they're produced in 1-minute episodes. And because of that, every episode has some sort of catch or turn or beat or surprise that keeps the viewer engaged. And so the genre as a whole is very dramatic. It has a lot of themes, a lot of tropes, and that kind of summarizes what you're going to see when you click on a vertical.
Yeah, and that is a very good description. We have not heard exactly that same thing. It's so fun. Everybody has something different. Marcia, I'll let you go ahead and explore her past.
Well, one of the first things I saw you in was something called Austin High.
Mm-hmm.
And that was that one of your earliest projects? Because
Yeah, it was. So that one was, as the name would indicate, that was actually shot in Austin. There were a group of filmmakers and actors who got together who just wanted to work and make a project that called to them, that kind of was fun to shoot, that we got to shoot together. They produced it. They built, fundraised and found a budget for it. And I kind of lucked into that position, got connected with them, and we just ended up kind of shoestring budget filming this series, but it got some traction on YouTube. And so we ended up making more and more seasons of it because there was an audience for it. So that was at the very, very beginning of the journey, but it was super fun just to kind of get my feet wet in the industry. I believe I'd been acting for about 5 to 6 months at that point. So I really was just figuring out the industry and what that looked like. Was really grateful to be a part of that project.
Well, you did really well in that project. I've seen several episodes, and it's really nice to be able to see them on, because Juliet, Trinity Johnston has her website where she has most of them, if not all of them, where people can watch. So if you haven't seen it, that would be a good place to start. Are you still in touch with some of the people that you worked with on that show?
I am actually. It's been really cool to see kind of as I've worked my way through the industry and moved to LA, just how everybody's career has evolved and changed. There's a lot of people who were in Austin at the time and shooting that, or were in high school at the time, and now they're in film school here in LA, or they're moving here to be an actor. They went ahead of me. So that's really cool. Trinity Johnson and Kelly Johnson are fantastic people. I've stayed in contact with them, and I actually just helped write and shoot and starred in a sequel to a short film, and Trinity was actually cast in that. So we got to work together again recently, and that was a whole bonding experience in and of itself again. So it's kind of cool in the film industry. It's such a big world, but over time you work with the same people, or you see the same people on different sets, and so you get to create a little bit of a community, which is always fun, because I step on a set and sometimes I'm like, okay, who am I going to know here? Because there's normally somebody has either I've known from another set, or has mutuals in common, and so that's always a really fun kind of surprise to figure out.
Mm-hmm. And another one of your, a couple of genre apocalyptic type shorts I saw that you were involved in. How did you get involved with that genre?
Great question. So to trace the beginning of that, you kind of have to track back a little bit. Before I was ever acting, I was a huge geek growing up. Like, I was obsessed with the comics. I was obsessed with the video games. Like, that was my world. But I was looking to go into medicine. I was swimming competitively in high school, looking to be recruited to swim in college. And so the worlds for me were very, very separate. Entertainment was a hobby. It was something that I loved, but it was not my future. And that kind of made me sad. It was hard to juggle that, but it just was what it was at that time. What ended up happening, me and my best friend at the time, we just loved Marvel. We love comics. We love DC. We ended up going to San Diego Comic-Con. We tried to get the tickets, got selected, went out there, and we created a cosplay. She's a fantastic FX makeup artist and just visionary. And we cooked up these cosplays. One was a female Magneto, that was hers, and one was a female Mystique in transition. So like half Mystique, half army uniform. And she was it was amazing what she pulled together in such a short amount of time. We went to Comic-Con and I cosplayed the character, and it blew up. I mean, we were 15, 16 at the time, and we looked up and we were in a lot of different international publications. The AP asked for a photo shoot with us, so we were doing that. It was getting national distribution, and we were just literally, I mean, like, I'm going, hi, yeah, I want to be a physician assistant or a nurse. I don't know what I'm doing here, but yes, let's do a photo shoot, right? Like, so surprised, such a different world, so unexpected. We just went as fans, honestly. We sat in the Hall H line for 24 hours. Thank you, Mom, for holding our place, right? But that was kind of the genesis of my sci-fi exploration into the industry. Because of that cosplay and the attention that it got, I was able to, when I did decide to go into acting, springboard off of that. And so a lot of casting directors looked at my resume, or researched my name, and they saw that, and they were able to conceive, oh, she would be so good as a robot in this, or she would be and so it provided kind of a background to be able to transition into sci-fi and dystopian. I love the genre. I mean, if I could pick any genre, that would be it. And so it was just perfect. I was so excited to be able to work in that industry, or that genre. And that was kind of the genesis and what it segued into.
That is really interesting, because I've been to San Diego Comic-Con more than a couple of times. And when I saw your picture of that costume that you're talking about, and I thought, I may have seen her before.
Yeah.
Because you were there, I think it was 2018, was it? And so our paths may have crossed. I also do some programming there, so I do some panels and things at Comic-Con. But I'd love to hear how your love for something has helped you transition into something new to explore. So one of the shorts that really I paid attention to was one where it's called The Silent Hunt,
Mm-hmm.
where you were with two other women, and it was a short. Was that for a competition or?
So that one, so a friend of mine, Ian Harrop, he called me up and he was like, "Hey, what do you think about driving out?" He was in Killeen at the time. And so, "What do you think about driving out here and let's shoot something? Let's put something on film." And I was like, "Let's do it. Why not?" And so me and two of those girls, we one of them's his sister, which was really fun to work with her. But we drove out there and we ended up putting that film together in I think it was a half day of shooting. He had this concept and we trusted him to bring it to life. And he does a fantastic job doing that. Every time I work with them, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you did all of this with so little. But we shot that and then we just put it on YouTube and it's gotten some attention, which has been really fun. It was a fun shoot and fun bringing that character to life.
Mm-hmm. I could go on, but Matthew, Michael.
Yeah, I know. It's one of those mornings. I can totally understand. If you weren't doing this, you said you had some other interests like medicine, it sounded like swimming.
Mm-hmm.
If you weren't doing acting, what would be your second thing that you'd really like to do to make you happy?
Oh, that's a great question. I love that. Oh, I'll say this.
Or something totally different,
Yeah, sure. I have a bad habit of making the things I love into my work. I get so obsessed with so many different things, and I'm like, how can I leverage this? How can I make this full time? So currently, I'm leading horseback riding, like trail guiding in Malibu, just because it's absolutely gorgeous and such a fun time. I grew up riding horses, and so that's one thing I love to do. I'm a writer, so I'm working on several different screenplays at the moment. That just brings me so much joy, being able to bring stories to life, whether it's in film or in writing or content, like all of it. I love that art of storytelling. I think it's beautiful, and the messages that are conveyed in our society, in our culture, all come through stories. And so that's, for me, that's my passion, is really trying to get messaging through the medium of art. So that's what I love to do. I also love wellness and fitness. So I'm sure that I would find my way into, personal training or just homeopathic medicine or something like that. I have a passion for, I've seen a lot of people's lives changed through healthcare, through fitness. And I think that's really, really beautiful, because giving the gift of that to somebody there's no price to it.
Yeah. Now you just made me forget my question, which is awful. But it had to do. I know what it. If you could combine, would you do fitness on the horse? Would you do acrobatics on the horse, or is that just too way out there?
I think I'd have to stretch a little bit. I'd have to get some real training to do that. The people who do that are absolutely phenomenal at what they do. I mean, there's so much that goes into just the equine world. And then on top of that, bringing in balance and acrobatics and stunt work on a horse is just next level. It's amazing. I bow down to those people who put their lives at risk, really, to do stuff like that. If it's in my future, I'm excited. If not, it makes sense.
Yeah. Now I remember my question. By asking that, I remembered my question, and you'll say, what? But that's the way my brain works sometimes. You said you do some writing. Mm-hmm. Are you writing verticals, or are you writing other things, or everything?
Great question. I am writing a vertical right now. I'm really excited about that one. My vision for it, so verticals are very dramatic. If you watch any vertical, you see, like I said before, every episode you have some sort of twist or turn. Because of the nature of that and because of the format, a lot of the turns are very fantastical, is a good word for it. Somebody gets slapped, or somebody's getting sued, or somebody's getting, there's just so many things that are, you have to suspend your disbelief, for sure. And
Yeah.
after working in verticals for a while, I went, is there a way to do this where you still have the ability to have these turns, but they can be in a way that you don't have to suspend your disbelief as much? And so that was my vision starting out of how can we create the same environment, the same story, or the same, type of, earthquake, the same type of storytelling, but bring in an audience who may not be as tuned into kind of the fantastical drama. And so that was something that I wanted to bring to life and just see, hey, is this possible? Can we do it? And I started writing and I started really enjoying it and going, I would love to act this. Now I'm writing it, so it's my opinion, right? But I just got into it. So I'm doing that. I'm also writing a series of sci-fi novels. Again, love sci-fi. And that's been really fun. I'm, like I said before, a big nerd, a big geek. And so I dove into it, started creating a language, started drawing different types of animals. I'm a big fan of James Cameron and what he's done with Avatar, and Lord of the Rings, J.R.R. Tolkien, C.S. Lewis. Just the depth of filmmaking and writing and storytelling that's been gleaned from that, and that is really inspiring to me. And so that's kind of the path I'm trying to follow. So that's what I'm doing with the sci-fi novels. And then I'm in the kind of really pre-writing phase for a Western that's actually true story. So I'm excited about that as well.
Okay, I've got two questions for you, then I'm going to turn it over to Marcia. First question is, Marcia, I heard that. Are you a Star Wars fan?
Yes.
Okay. Now I'm upset with myself. We just finished a series of show reviewing the new Andor second season.
Okay.
And we were looking for co-hosts. We had other vertical people that were going to be on with us, and they all got jobs at the last minute. So they couldn't come on. So it was like, I went, oh, dang. But, I wish I'd known that you were a fan too, and I would have asked you before you went on. But that's like a mean story
too, though, Michael.
And she might have been busy too. And I think she was, but, I would have been happy if I just asked her, and she was interested. And yeah, but, it's just the way it is.
Next time, Michael. I'll be there.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we've got other things coming up. So one of our other shows does things like that all the time. So now I'll hold the other question. I'll let Marcia. She'll probably steal it, so that's okay.
Probably. But I'm also interested, you talked about a variety of approaches to writing and the vertical dramas and other things. I noticed that in one of your verticals, Sit Down, Be Humble, it began with comedy. And is that something it was very funny with the butlers and you riding the bicycle and is that another area in which you want to explore your comedic skills?
Yes, 100%. I'm currently taking improv with UCB, improv, and then also training with Leslie Kahn, who specializes a lot in comedy. That was an area that I looked back. So originally I started out being a Meisner trained actor. That's what I focused on for about 4 years. And then I looked up and said, okay, great. I have that tool belt. I don't think I know very much about comedy. And so when I moved out to LA, that was what I tried to hit hard. And it's been really rewarding. I thought I would like it, and I did. And it's such I think people don't realize how much of a skill set it really is. There's so much that goes into game and that goes into beats, and it's so formulaic, comedy is. But if you do it well, people don't notice. And so that's been really fun to explore in verticals, in other just normal films, in life, just talking to people, seeing, okay, what makes people laugh? What's a good moment? What's an awkward moment? Kind of those different types of beats. It's been really fun to explore, and I've been rewarded for seeking that out. I'm glad I
did. In that vertical, verticals go by so quickly. You may not remember this particular scene, but you were talking with the antagonist, and he was chiding you about how you were not too bright, and you weren't an heiress, and and they were comparing his new fiance to different people who were living and dead, and one, he said, well, you're no Princess Diana. And I don't know if you remember your line. Do you remember your line? What you?
I do. It's something like, at least pick someone who's alive.
That's exactly.
Yeah.
That was funny, and so that added to the snappiness of, we knew, 1 minute and hook and hook and hook, but those comedic elements are something that I'm finding are adding to the vertical dramas.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we're going to see more of that with verticals. I personally know a lot of people who are writing them because they've had similar, experiences and ideas that I did. How could I make this? How could we make one that's funny? How could we make one that's, set in the 1940s? How could we make one? Right? People, we're in a land of creatives out here in LA and also on the East Coast. And so I'm seeing a lot more of that. And I think we're going to see a wider variation of verticals. I think we're going to see different people experimenting with, okay, what works, different producers, different platforms saying, okay, let's try one that's just purely has no romance at all. We're seeing a few of those start to come out and start to be filmed. We're seeing horrors and thrillers start to be filmed in vertical format. So I think the industry is in its infancy, and we're going to see the vertical industry, and we're going to see a big explosion of just different things happening, and it just will depend on what the audience is and what's received well, honestly.
And because
that was my question I was going to ask. I knew Marcia would do something to pull it in, and you'd answer it. I just knew it. Yeah, mine was basically, I was going to ask, have you noticed a change in verticals since you started? And
yeah.
So that was, you kind of answered all of it. Okay, go ahead, Marcia. Yeah.
Well, since you're a sci-fi geek, I'm guessing you have seen the new Superman trailer. Have you seen it?
I haven't.
Oh my goodness, you must. If you're a DC fan at all, there are actually 2 trailers out now. The first one was a teaser. The second one is a little bit longer, and I would be very interested what you think about. I was blown away by it. James Gunn, who did the Guardians of the Galaxy. Have you seen those?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's doing this, and I think you'd enjoy it. So maybe take a look at that sometime.
I'm gonna log off and watch it right now. I didn't know it was out.
You've been busy.
Yes. Grateful to be busy, but missing a few industry geek moments.
When you first started in the regular formats. What was some of the most different things about shooting in the vertical format, going from regular to vertical? What were some of the things that you noticed right off?
Ooh, I'm sure that other actors have said this, but the speed is one for sure. We shoot very fast. At the beginning of my career, I did a film called Nova, and I played Nova. It was my first speaking role ever. It was it was the title character of the feature film. Really went off the deep end with that one, but it was a great experience. We shot it during COVID, and we shot it in 10 days. And whenever I told anybody that, they freaked out. And they were like, what? There's no way you guys do it in 10 days. Are you kidding? It was a full feature film. Yeah, it was. Well, verticals are full feature length, and we typically shoot in about 8 or 9 days. So the standard for how quickly you can shoot that many pages, I think, has shifted. You see different levels of quality. There's some that you can tell they were shot very, very quickly. There's others that you wouldn't be able to tell. And so that's one of the things, is just being able to step on set. And I had one where I got the script the day before.
Ooh.
The day before.
Wow.
And I went, okay, this is not normally the level of excellence and professionalism that I try to bring to a set, but this is the circumstance. I'm going to have to memorize my lines every single night the day before, get up the next morning, rep them on the way to set, have my script on set, and just do the best I can. And it worked out. Everything was good. Everybody understood, okay, we had a day, right? Nobody was upset, but it was like, okay, can you do that or not? So that's what I see actors either struggle with or excel at, is, can you shoot that quickly? Can you have 1 take, 2 takes, and then move on? Did you get the artistic opportunity that you wanted to get, or are you going to have to learn the hard way? So that's something that I see. I think what's really cool about verticals and possibly different, because people know that we're creating content, there's less pressure on everybody involved because we know what we're doing. If you step onto a network set, everybody's very stressed, right? Very, oh, we've got to get this right. This is a network show. It's coming, right? There's this a level of, oh my gosh, we have to do it right. Verticals, there's still, we're leading with professionalism and excellence, but what you see is people are more relaxed and more free to be themselves and not as stressed about the work and more focused on, okay, let's do the best we can, but we're all people here and let's just be people, right? Mm-hmm. And that's really cool because it's created little pockets of film family that surprised me. But you're together for 10 days, you're shooting like crazy. Every moment, there's days where I have to eat a few nuts standing up and run to the next. Like, there's no downtime. And because of that, you get to kind of have that shared bond with the people on set. And there's plenty of sets that, I still see and hang out with the director, the AD, the PAs, the BTS photographers, the actors, because that bond was established and because people knew, okay, we're here to make the art, we're here to make the content, but at the end of the day, we're working in vertical land. And the beauty of that is that we get to just bond with the people we're working with rather than stressing, oh my gosh, this is for a studio. And if you're not doing your job, you're going to get fired and all that.
Yeah, it's a lot of stress.
Yeah.
So when you're beginning to shoot or before you shoot, how much do you know about the entire script or the entire story? Do you know where you want to go when you first start shooting?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. Every actor has their different approach. I kind of try to tackle it several different ways. Meisner being my roots, I go at it that way. Okay, like what are the emotional preps here? What's the arc of the story? Which moments? What are my wants? What are my desires? Who is she? Where did she come from? What has caused her to be who she is today and react the way she is going to react so that I can be present in the moment. I also trained with Leslie Kahn, who's all about thoughts in the moment and cultivating the thoughts specifically so that the way you're delivering the line has nuance to it and you know exactly what you're thinking. Because when we speak to each other, I know what I'm thinking right now, and then it comes out of my mouth and you see the nuances of that. So when you're acting a character and your line is, can you pass me the cookies? You have a thought about that. You have a character thought about that in the same way that I would if I was just Juliet. And so I bring that into it. And there's some other ways, bringing some improv, bringing some thoughts out loud, bringing just different tools to the table to be able to shift and format my character and understand her. So that when we begin shooting, we shoot so fast, you can't sit there and have a long discussion about, okay, what does this scene mean? Yeah. Hey, director, can you come over here? We have a question about, what do you think the nuance? It's like, we don't care, just shoot it, right?
Yeah, they're 4 pages ahead of you by then, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So you
Mm-hmm.
have to be prepared. You have to do your work ahead of time. And I think that's what makes the true professionals in the vertical industry stand out, is the ability to shoot 25 days out of 30 days of the month and do that for every single one of those projects and do it well and be believable and be kind to the people around you and not let the stress affect you. There's so many variables that go into it, but you have to be prepared. That's the only way you're going to be able to succeed.
Well, here's kind of a fun or scary question for you. Have you been recognized on the street as a vertical actor?
I have. Yes, I have. It was actually funny. The first time it ever happened, I was working okay, back up a second. I moved to Los Angeles. I had been out here for 2.5 weeks. I was working the Micho Film Festival, which is a fantastic festival here in based in Culver City, and just volunteering, trying to give I love the cause of the festival and just wanted to help out. And I'm like in uniform, just doing my, I don't look cute. Like I'm sure my hair is frizzy and I'm just like trying to usher guests into shows and somebody waves at me across the room. And I was like, hi, but I know I've been here for 2.5 weeks. There's no way I know anybody here. I mean, the chances are astronomical that they're from Austin. And so I kind of waved back like, hi, she comes over. She said, where do I know you from? And I went, I'm not sure. I honestly, I just moved here. Did we have mutuals in common? Maybe Instagram? And she goes, no, what is it? You're in a vertical, aren't you? And I was like, yes, actually, I am. She's like, I just watched a bunch of them. I just binged them. You're in that one. Sit down, me. I was like, that is me. Yeah, that's me. And so she asked for a picture and we took a picture and followed each other on Instagram. And she was so excited. And she ended up working with my co-star in Sit Down, Be Humble. A couple of weeks later, she sent me a video. She's like, he says hi. And it was just this weird moment of like, wild. What is happening here? But since then, there have been people who just either reach out or friends from Austin. They say, hey, I saw you today on my TikTok feed, or people in public that just approach, and that is weird. It's pretty odd, but it's also really fun and shows how much people are engaging with verticals and how much they love them. And that's, I mean, as someone who works in the vertical space and wants to see the best for it, that's so exciting. So it's been fun.
Yeah, that's I was wondering if you'd because some actors have and some have not. But like you got something pretty quick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Marcia, we're probably going to wind down pretty soon, so I'm going to let you go for your last question.
I was going to follow up kind of on that point, and I'd like to ask people sometimes, have you been practicing your autograph? Because you're going to have to.
Yeah. Honestly, I have, but partially because, what's really cool about these films and crew, typically you get asked just because you're on set. So from the moment I started acting, I mean, every production I've been on, we all get each other's autographs, even the crew. Like, hey, come on, sign my script. I have a vertical friend who inspired me to do this. He actually spiral bound his script, and typically, you paper clip it or you staple it, but he actually got it really nice. It had a cover on it. I was like, that's so nice. And at the end of the shoot, he got everybody to sign the cover, and I was so inspired by that. Normally, my autographs are kind of clumped in the corner of something, or I have to find a piece of scratch paper, but he did it. And so all the people who worked on that vertical, or all the people who worked on that production, signed the front. And I thought that was so cool. So that's what I do now. I stole that hack from him. And I love doing that. Cause it's just we're film family. We're building something together. You get to know people. People come in, they had bad days. People come in, they're having the best day of their life, cause they found out some news or something like that. And you get to share that with them. And that's really what makes the industry such a cool place. Not just because of the job you're doing, not just because you get to show up and do something that people dream about. Not only because you're getting to be an artist, but because you get to be a person creating with other creatives, and get to know them on a personal level, and get to be supportive, and hug someone on a bad day and celebrate, or cut the cake for someone's birthday that day. It's just so fun because it's every day is different, and there's such a communal aspect to it that I don't think you really see as much in other industries. And so that's something I really enjoy about it, and that's part of the reason I'm practicing my signature.
Makes sense.
Spinning off of that one now, Michael, we have to ask about Verticon.
I knew. Yeah, you're first. Okay, go ahead.
Convention. Do you want to ask?
Have you been invited yet?
Yeah.
I have not. I saw it recently, and I was so excited that's happening. That is such a cool idea. I know a lot of people who are going. I have not personally received an invite yet. I might just be showing up to support and just cheering in the background.
There you go.
But yeah, it's so cool just to see people rallying around it and getting to really truly experience in person the fandom that they're creating online. That's just there. You don't get to do that every day.
No, you don't. But it is fun when you do see your fans out there.
So what is going to be the next project that we see you in?
So I have a few loading right now. I'm flying to Atlanta this week to shoot another vertical. I also have a short that was produced last fall that's a prequel to a short we did that got a lot of positive feedback, and so helped write and kind of act and star in that one. And that one's going to be coming out soon. I'm really excited about that. And there's some other stuff I can't talk about, but
Yes,
That's
yes,
fine. We don't
understand.
want you to. No. Mm-mm.
yeah, all in all, there's some stuff loading for sure. And I'm really excited to share it with you guys.
Well, we'll be excited to follow your rising star, continuing to rise. Looking forward to that, and looking forward to maybe, hopefully, you'll be able to come back to San Diego Comic-Con, and maybe talk about verticals.
Hey, that's the dream. That honestly, from the beginning of my career, I was like, so kind of segue here for a second. When I was at Comic-Con and I was contemplating going into the arts or medicine, all that, I talked to a lot of creatives there and just kind of tried to get their advice on what they did and how they felt about it and what their career looked like and what they had been planning to do with their career before they got into what they were doing. What this was, I've talked to some actors who were on well-known film and TV sets about it that I just ran into. I talked to some comic book artists who were working for Marvel. I got the opportunity to hear a lot of different people, and all of the advice I got was so inspiring. It was so just calming, and there was a lot of wisdom that was shared with me, and I'm really grateful for that. It really helped me set a tone starting out for what I wanted my career to look like and how to do that with excellence and integrity and vision. And so for me, starting out, I was like, if one day I'm able to be at San Diego Comic-Con and give back, or honestly any Comic-Con, and give back to the little kids who are running around, or the teenagers that are running around and asking those same questions, that is a dream. Because I'm like, that's, to me at least, one of the biggest impacts you can have is doing something for somebody that, giving back, doing what they did for you, and working towards that. And so I'm excited to live that out in the future. And I hope it comes my way.
That's wonderful. That's very inspiring in itself. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
And we would like to thank you for joining us today. This was fun.
Thank you guys.
Also, if you have any project, like you said, your project coming up, if you'd like to come on and promote it a little bit and maybe bring some of your co-stars or behind the scenes people, we welcome them to come on and we can talk about your project. So,
well, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you bringing me on. This is a blast. You guys are killing it. I was saying before we started that I had watched a bunch of the interviews, and it was just so inspiring and such a light, I feel like, in this industry. And so I thank you for that. Great job.
Yeah, well, our first ones was beginning of February.
Yeah.
And I had actually talked to that actor in November, and he kept getting scheduled for new verticals. Mm-hmm. So it kept getting, he says, I can do it right before Christmas. Oh, now it's like maybe beginning of January. Oh, no, now it's, so, and he's been busy ever since. So, I understand, people have to change because these things come very quickly. What I have noticed.
Yes.
So that is the crazy thing. Let's see. Okay, and then Megan has a comment. I hope it comes your way too. And then, as she also says, can't wait to hear about your new projects. So
thank you so much, Megan.
Yeah, friend of yours.
Yes.
Okay. Well, at least it wasn't your mom and dad coming on like they do to some of our poor guests, and start spilling all the stuff from when they were little, so.
They are welcome. They are the reason why I am where I am. And so I salute them.
There you go. But on behalf of the NDB Media Network and Talented Universe, I'd like to thank everyone for coming, and thank Juliet for coming and Marcia for co-hosting with me today. So take care, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
See you soon.